Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Building Championship Mindsets, the podcast. This is your host, Dr. Amber Selking, where we are in season 12, entitled A Decade of Greatness. We are celebrating the last 10 years of the Selking Performance Group since we first became an organization back in September of 2012. Actually, September 29th. If you know me, you know that 29 is one of my numbers that I associate with the world because my life verse is Jeremiah 29:11. 29 was my college soccer number when I played at the University of Notre Dame. And so, when I sat down to incorporate my LLC in the state of Colorado, where I was doing my master's degree, I sat down to work on it on the 29th and thought that was pretty relevant day. But then they have a pretty quick turnaround out in Colorado. And so I actually got it finalized on that very same day. And so it's fun to look back and see that number 29 again have a prominent role in my life, in the journey that I've been on personally, but also that we've been on as a company. And so in this season, we're really looking at different drivers of success over the last 10 years, or things that I've noticed as being critical to the journey that we've been on as an organization. And so today in episode 4, we're going to dive into this topic of systems and really understanding how systems are important, not only for us at Selking Performance Group, but also with the clients and teams with whom we've worked over the last several years. And so here at Selking Performance Group, we're all about helping individuals, teams, and organizations really understand what is leadership and how is leadership contributing to high-performing organizations. And then what are mindsets and how can we help people break down unhealthy, unproductive mindsets? And a mindset is a patterned way of thinking, or literally a protein pattern that gets woven into your brain based on what you think about. So how do we help people break down negative or unproductive mindsets that they might have in their lives? And then how do we build championship mindsets? So that's the tagline on our company, right? Building championship mindsets. It's also the name of the podcast, Building Championship Mindsets, because it is such a critical element to drive high performance excellence, again, for individuals, for teams, and for organizations. And so when I say systems, what I mean is, what I believe is that everything is connected. Organizations or individuals that operate in isolation or in, silos, I'm sure you've heard that term used, I believe limit themselves of being the highest performing organization possible. And I think the same is true for human beings. Our lives are not siloed and segmented. They're all interconnected in some way. And so when we start to understand that, what we understand is that any change or addition or subtraction or manipulation of a part of the system will impact other parts of the system in different ways. And so again, when we recognize that, then we start to think about, well, how do I make sure that I'm building a system that is conducive to human high performance? So that is aligned with what we know about how humans thrive and deliver their best. But also, how can I be mindful of any changes or tweaks that I make to the system, knowing that it's going to impact other aspects? And so at SPG, we really think about high performance excellence, and we've got a team of performance coaches. We've got a nutritionist on our staff. We've got leadership coaches on our staff. We've got mental performance coaches, and we have a licensed performance psychologist on our staff, because all those pieces are connected to an individual's ability to deliver their best. So we want to think a little bit more broadly. And then, I'm a big believer in chiropractic work and obviously physical conditioning. And so I've got contacts in all those spaces to make sure that the clients that we work with, we can get them connected to the right people to holistically and systemically think about their high performance journey. So that's sort of an example of within SPG. And so I think about systems as broadly, what is the system of the organization that you're creating? But you can also think about systems sort of in a microcosm or in a micro perspective as processes, right? What are the processes that you have in place that allow you to replicate success? And so again, what's your process? You hear a lot of football coaches talk about the process. And often that's like a general term, but can you get specific about what is your process? And here's why we have process. We have process, again, so that we can replicate success. so that we don't have to spend unnecessary time, energy, and attention thinking about what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? How does this work? Again, I partner with Truth Work Media for this podcast. And so Michael Yoder, the founder of it, we have a process set up where we record an episode, we upload that episode, his team works on editing it, and then we've got a posting process. So every week we don't have to think about how are we going to do this? How are we going to get this out to the world? We just know this is the process and here's how we follow it. And so it really strips away, again, all of the unnecessary time, energy, and attention that we have to give to that. A way that I applied it as the vice president of leadership and culture at Lippert, I had a team of about 30 people globally. I've stepped more into a project or an initiative management role, if you will, in our leadership and culture in the last couple months, given the sort of shift in work and mental performance, working with an NFL team down at LSU and with Notre Dame softball. And so in that transition, though, last year, when I led this team of about 30 people, one of the things that we realized needed to happen was a more regular and consistent communication cadence. So we actually set up an annual communication calendar or a communication process that ensured that we had quarterly all team summits. So there were 5 different teams that sat under our umbrella of leadership and culture. And so once a quarter, all 5 of those teams were able to get together, share best practices, do community service together, and really just get aligned for the next quarter. Then I had bi-monthly one-on-ones with every person set up through the whole year. So we never had to think about these things. We had monthly team meetings for each of the 5 different teams. Again, just a system or a process that we set up to allow that to happen without using unnecessary amounts of time, energy, and attention, which are valuable, limited resources for all of us as high performers. And so for your championship mindset training today, I want you to think about, what are the systems that I've created for my organization? What is my system that leads to high performance excellence? And then what are the processes that I have set up within my system to allow for replicability of success and the minimization of time, energy, and attention leaks that I have throughout my day, my week, and my month? And so again, some of the work that we've done at Selking Performance is helping senior level leaders or head coaches build systems. And so, the work that we've been doing with Notre Dame softball, we really looked at the system that they've been created and dialed it in to talk about what does it mean to be building champions and the 4 pillars that those coaches saw go into the young women that they've coached and built over the years that they believe lead to success, all undergirded with these habits of excellence that we talk about. And so again, our ability to partner and use their expertise and experiences and wisdom and winning over the last several years, they've been so successful. How do we take the next step, right? Which is one of the beautiful parts about them as leaders. They're always wanting to learn and grow and find that next level. So we were able to very clearly articulate what's our mission, what are our pillars of success, and then what are the habits of excellence that will allow us to accomplish that mission, again, of building champions. And so again, think to yourself, what is the system that I believe is going to lead to the highest performance for my individuals inside of my system and collectively as a group? And then what are the processes that we have in place for each day, each week, each month, each quarter that will allow that system to operate fluidly, to operate flexibly, because we all know that things change. These systems have to be flexible and malleable, but consistent enough to allow actual human beings to grow, to develop, and to build championship mindsets and how they show up every single day. Please reach out to us if you're interested in learning more about how to build your own system of high performance excellence. Again, I think that that's something that I really want you all to understand. This isn't just a cookie cutter thing that we come in and say, okay, you do this, and then you do this exact same thing, and you do this exact same thing. This is very tailored. I mean, there's some fundamental science of human high performance that we know. There's some organizational leadership and design science that we know leads to high performing organization. High performing organizations. However, how we go about creating and articulating that becomes very specialized, very nuanced, very specific to the leaders of that system, to the individuals inside of that system, and to whatever you're trying to accomplish in that system, right? Manufacturing is different than football, is different than softball, is different than academia. But all of them are relevant in that, or consistent in that we can build a comprehensive, integrated, high performance system. And that's ultimately what we are always after. Comprehensive, it includes everything. Integrated, it's all connected. High performance, everything is aligned with what we know about human high performance, and it's a system. And we run it and we apply it and we tweak it as we need it. But ultimately, it leads to winning. And so I'm looking forward to, again, hopefully partnering with you or your organization. If you want to shoot us a message directly, my email is drselking@selkingperformance.com. And then you can also find us on all the social media platforms, on Twitter and Instagram at Champ Mindsets, on Facebook at Selking Performance Group, on TikTok at Championship Mindsets. And then check out our website too, www.selkingperformance.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been listening to Building Championship Mindsets, the podcast. This is your host, Dr. Amber Selking, and from the locker room to the boardroom, I just want to challenge you to continue building your championship mindset.